Here on Ultimate Reloader, we've had a ton of fun with ATN's day-night scopes, including the X-Sight 4K Pro and the X-Sight 5. This time, we're gonna look at the new X-Celsior day-night scope from ATN. Hey guys, Gavin here from UltimateReloader.com. That's right, ATN just released their X-Celsior scope, which is a high-quality day-night scope. The difference with X-Celsior, one of them, is that this is at a more affordable price point compared to the more expensive premium ATN day-night scopes like the X-Sight 4K Pro and the X-Sight 5 that we've shown in the past. So I'm really looking forward to using this scope, showing you guys a comparison of how this scope will perform compared to those other scopes, and of course to have a bunch of fun shooting with it. So I'm going to waste no time and get this out of the box. Okay, so as you can see here, this is a pretty comprehensive setup, just like what we've enjoyed with the X-Sight 4K Pro and the X-Sight 5. We've got the optic itself. It is reasonably lightweight. This is going to probably come in at less weight than either of the other two day-night scopes that I have from ATN. It's got an included IR illuminator, the battery for the IR illuminator. It's got a set of different ring options, including one where we can mount the infrared illuminator on either side. Really nice setup there. Neoprene cover. We've got a scope cap for the front and a hood for the rear to help keep out the light. We've got USB-C cable, charger for the IR illuminator battery, another USB-C cable for charging the scope, printed materials, lens cleaning cloth. So again, this is a comprehensive setup. Really looking forward to getting this scope on a charger, getting it installed on a rifle. We'll get it sighted in, then we'll put it through its paces, compare it to our other day-night scopes, go through detailed features and specs, and hopefully do some hunting. So this rifle setup, which is an Odin AR-15, we've got a complete separate story on that, turned out awesome with ATN's X-Celsior. But before I get into any of the specs or talk about the setup, I want to show you some awesome hunting action I had. The Rock Chucks just came out, it's early spring action. Wanted to get ahead of the ball on pest control. This was a lot of fun. Okay, so that was a great way to get my feet wet hunting with the ATN X-Celsior scope. Let's talk a little bit more about this setup. This Odin AR-15 is chambered in 22 arc, and it's got a 1-in-7 twist. I am absolutely loving the 22 arc, by the way. What a versatile cartridge. It is absolutely a hammer with this AR-15. When I was sighting it in, I was using Hornady's 62 ELD VT factory ammo, and that worked great on the Rock Chucks. And when I was doing my one-shot zero, which by the way is an awesome feature, I had the last 3 shots from my confirmation group all touching. And for a 22 caliber projectile, that's awesome. So I used ATN's included 30mm rings, and in the back I used this ring cap that has the Picatinny sections on both sides. You can mount the IR illuminator on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side. I felt like since I'm shooting right-handed, that gives me this thumb here to turn the illuminator on and off, adjust the intensity and work the focus, that kind of thing. So installation, super straightforward. Went to 100 yards and did the sight in. Like I said, I used the one-shot zero and had really good accuracy with Hornady's 62 ELD VT factory's 22 arc ammo. So at that point, I'm thinking I'm really confident with this setup. Got a really good zero and did my rock chucking. And then I went up to the ridgeline and did some work with steel targets, which was really fun. My first thing I did was to shoot at 200 yards on a larger rock chuck target from a positional off the tree branch type of setup. This is what happened there. So as you can see, we had a bit of wind going on, and I had two different lots of ammo. It was funny to see how much of a vertical difference there was between the 62 ELD VT and the 88 ELDM. Those 88 ELDMs were so much slower, even at 200 yards, there was a drop distance of, I don't know, probably 6 inches or something like that. But the daytime performance with the scope, absolutely excellent. One of the scenarios I wanted to try was our rock chuck targets at 335 yards. So what I did was I lasered it. Well, I've lasered it many times. It's 335 yards. I put together a quick dope card, and I found that at 335 yards, I needed to be at 0.8 mils elevation hold. The shooting was a lot of fun. This is how that went. So my calculated hold was right on, and the game I was playing was with the wind, which was variable. And that 0.8 mil hold was really easy to attain with the mil dot reticle, which I activated on the X-Celsior. This is going to be, I think, my go-to reticle because we've got elevation and windage dots, and it makes it really easy to take a solution and implement that with straight up holdover. So that was fun. The next round of testing I did with the scope's performance was to switch it to night mode. And what I found was this scope is incredibly effective at night. To demonstrate that performance, I shot at one of our steel targets in our industrial yard in complete darkness. You can see here how dark it was. So we're looking at a steel target here. I'm just going to flip the IR eliminator off. See just a little bit there, and back on. We get exposure. This is a pretty awesome capability. Awesome. So I was looking out to probably about 200 yards with the IR illuminator, and what I noted was it's this mount that has kind of the ball and socket arrangement is really effective for getting the IR illuminator pointed perfectly and centered at whatever distance you want to do that at. You've got a simple click on the back here to turn it on and off, intensity, and then focus. And the focus is what's going to really enable you to punch out. At 100 yards, I was kind of full wide with the focus, but I think if I'm out there and I'm going to try and test this 1,000-yard capability that ATN advertises, we're going to go to full spot mode, that narrow beam, and just project it as far as we can. I noticed the automatic exposure compensation for the night mode was really easy to use. So that is a brief overview of the shooting performance. Let me talk about the user interface here on the scope. We've got a USB-C port with the weather seal. That's for our charging. We've got a micro SD card slot with a weather seal, and ATN says that this scope works with cards up to 64 gigs. I used a 128 and it worked. I don't know if only 64 gigs will be usable on that. That's a good question. We've got kind of our diopter adjustment back here, which focuses your view on the sort of TV screen that's inside the scope, and then we have our focus ring out here. So very easy to use interface. The pad has a power button, long press to turn on, long press to turn off. We've got the center button. If you just press that in normal use, it'll pull up the menu, which is on the left-hand side. We can go through and change the reticle and those sorts of things, do our one-shot zero. Upper button, you hit that 3 times to ratchet through 3 different zoom settings up to, on this model, 15x on the Mac side. The sort of down button is the day-night mode switch, short press on that. Left, short press would be taking a picture. Left, long press would be to toggle your video recording on and off. And then display brightness, short press on the right button. There's a lot more to the scope that you can do, but those are kind of the basics of the user interface. Okay, so that takes you kind of through some of my first experiences. Very seamless and easy to mount the scope, get it leveled, get it zeroed, and to shoot out to 335 yards on targets that are pretty small. So what that told me is, hey, if we're out night hunting coyotes out to, I don't know, probably 400, absolutely no problem with the kind of tripod setups that we use, and possibly using a laser rangefinder like what we have on Blaze Hunter. That is a topic for a different day. That's a thermal monocular. Okay, we got the rifle set up, we did shooting, did hunting. This thing is performing awesome. What I want to do next is break down some specs and features. Okay, so if you go to ATN's website, they have a full breakdown of all of the different features, previews of night video footage of coyotes. It's some really cool page that they put together. But to summarize, X-Celsior 5-15, we've also got the 3-9 model, but we have 5-15 here. Day and night modes, high sensitivity IR sensor. I noted an improvement over prior gen models. It looks really, really good at night. 1,000-yard capable high power IR illuminator. Like I said, I tested it out to about 200 and I was at full wide and absolutely no problem. So a lot of distance and range left in its capability there. It's got a charger and removable battery for the IR illuminator, and the charger gives you progress for charging, which I thought was a really nice detail. Comes with the 30mm rings and illuminator mount. That's this rear cap I talked about. USB-C charging, micro SD card slot, stadiometric rangefinder. So this is where you can use the height of an animal and use a size reference comparison to estimate the distance. That would be really handy if you don't have a laser rangefinder and you're doing night hunting. Multiple reticle options, quite a few to pick from. Like I said, there's the mil dot option, which I'm using here. There's also a Predator reticle that is an ATN exclusive that has kind of a hybrid functionality for predator hunting. And of course, the one-shot zero. So the MSRP on the 5-15 is $699. If you go down to that 3-9 model, you're gonna be down at $599. Some things of note here, this model, 5-15x magnification, 240 feet field of view at 5 power magnification, so full wide, 1280 HD integrated display, 90mm eye relief, plenty of reticles to choose from, 4 to 64 gig spec'd memory card capacity, and that is micro SD, internal lithium ion battery. So it's advertised at 10 hours. And what I found was after hours of use, I did not even see the level go down. So I'm inclined to believe the 10-hour rating. It's going to depend on, a number of factors, including temperature, as is always the case. 1.7 pounds. It does have a 3-year warranty, which is awesome. So if you look on the ATN website, you can actually still buy the X-Sight LTV and the X-Sight 4K Pro. Those are the older models. What I have here is a comparison of the latest gen technology. So we've got X-Celsior series and X-Sight 5 series, right? So X-Celsior has 3-9 and 5-15, basic options, and the latest imaging tech. It's going to start at $599 and go up to $699. ATN X-Sight 5 series, there's quite a few different SKUs here, so you're going to want to check out their page to check out all of the different options. But it spans from 3-15x all the way up to 5-25x and does include the LRF option, which is the laser rangefinder. Our complete in-depth review was using the model with the LRF and the 5-25x, so the flagship model essentially. The biggest difference here, in addition to this LRF option, is going to be that you're going to have fully featured ballistics built in and Wi-Fi. So you can do the streaming with the laser rangefinder and your ballistics input into the scope. You could basically range and shoot, just hold dead center, right? So that's going to be a big upgrade if you're inclined to go that direction. But the prices start at $795 and go all the way up to $1195. So it's definitely a different level of investment. So in conclusion, I'm just going to say I had a ton of fun with this scope. And I think it is a great option if you want to enter this type of market and this capability at a lower price point. Like I said, if you have a laser rangefinder and if you've built out your dope card, this is a very viable setup out to some pretty extreme distances, both day and night. You know, the latest imaging tech built in, the long battery life, had no problems with the scope itself at all. This is a great quality unit, and ATN just builds a really good product. I will note that we also recently covered Thor 5 XD, so if you're going the thermal route, we also have Thor LTV that we've covered recently. ATN has a ton of options on that side as well. We've got the Blaze Trek thermal monocular story that we published recently, and we're working on Blaze Hunter right now. So lots of different options for day and night hunting with these advanced electro optics. What I'd like to know is, have you seen X-Celsior, or do you have one? If so, how do you like it and what are you using it for? Drop a comment and we'll discuss that down in the comments section. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching Ultimate Reloader on TV and want to take advantage of free resources, exclusives, and hot deals, just hold your camera phone up to the QR code, tap on the link, fill out the information, boom, you're getting Ultimate Reloader emails. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.